Welcome to the Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum. We will start with our Zoom etiquette reminders, followed by the opening prayer and the Philippine National Anthem. We are streaming live on the GC official Facebook page. This is brought to you by Green Convergence in partnership with our sponsor, JRS Express, kahit saan maaasahan, kahit saan makakarating. Makakalikasang araw po sa ating lahat.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Our Heavenly Father, we offer you our thanksgiving. We thank you for everyone gathered here today to walk with you. May we ask you for your blessings and guidance so that the activities set for this undertaking be successful. We ask you to open our eyes to see the wonderful things from this activity. We ask that you open our ears so that we may retain the invaluable knowledge. Open our minds for us to think wisely. Put us with understanding, cooperation, and peace in fulfilling our responsibilities. Open our hearts so that we may receive your everlasting love, and open our spirit so that we may know that you are with us all throughout the day. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Bayang magiliw, dalas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisigit, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Nakakalikasang araw sa lahat at welcome once again to the Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum. I hope okay po kayong lahat ngayong Friday afternoon. Pero bago po yun, allow me to introduce myself. I am David D'Angelo, the Public Relations Officer of the new Board of Trustees of Green Convergence and the National Chairperson of Bayanihan para sa Kalikasan Movement, BKM. And I am thrilled to be the co-moderator again for this month's session. Today is the 425th session, the second to the last session for this month, and of course, with the theme Just Climate Transition. Should it include nuclear and waste to energy, or WTE? We will delve into national issues that requires our utmost attention, especially in the face of worsening climate effects. Nuclear and WTE are hot terms in the big 2025, lalo na po given the long history of how firmly environmentalists have protested against unnatural and destructive means of taking resources from Mother Nature. All the more that it is questionable now that we are gearing towards just energy transition. So we'll see what our experts this afternoon would have to say about these things. At syempre, mahalaga din po yung input ng bawat isa. Syempre, before anything else, let me introduce my co-moderator for today. She is the Media and Communications Officer of Green Convergence, Marian Lumisa Palo. Muli, mga kalikasang araw, Marian. Kumusta?
Yes, makakalikasang araw, Sir David, at makakalikasang araw din po sa ating lahat. Warmly welcoming everyone once again sa ating monthly Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum. The 425th session theme, Just Climate Transition, should it include nuclear and waste to energy, or WTE? And tama si Sir David, no, in a crucial period wherein we are working towards just transition, the question truly is, should nuclear and waste to energy technology be included? Why or why not, no? Recently, in our past Kamayan Fora, we've been keenly raising awareness on nature-based solutions, addressing effective waste management, and ultimately emphasizing how important the nature knows best environmental principle is in responding to the threats of climate change. And now, these technologies are being thrown into the picture. So, let's all find out this afternoon, no, if these are truly ecologically effective ways to source energy through the discussions of our invited resource speakers from various sectors concerned. And we invite all of you to participate in the discussions. Share this live stream on your timeline. We are live on Facebook. Tag your friends and invite them to join in the conversation. Of course, we cannot forget to extend our heartfelt thanks to JRS Express as they celebrate 65 years of trusted delivery service. We truly value your support of the Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum. Alright, back to you, Sir David.
Yes, sobrang salamat po sa JRS Express for supporting and co-presenting today's Kamayan session. Happy 65 years of delivery service. At syempre, habang iniintay po nating lahat ng iyong panagot sa tumitinding korupsyon sa ating bayan, sana wag nang madagdagan ang pamiminsala sa kalikasan. Kaya napakahalaga po ng pag-uusapan natin ngayong araw. Marian, I think we can also greet our participants. So drop your emojis, your heart reactions, so we can see you and recognize everyone. Meron tayong mga participants from various non-governmental organizations who are member of Green Convergence. We have also participants from the government. We've seen from the Department of Energy, from the DNR. Also, I think we have students and schools. Yan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Yan, at siyempre, very, very interesting. So, ayan, thank you all for being here with us today. So, to officially open today's Kamayan Forum, let us first hear the opening remarks of the energetic, passionate, and dedicated President of Green Convergence, ang isa sa aking talaga namang lodi para sa kalikasan, none other than Miss Victoria M. Segovia. Mga kalikasang araw, Miss Vicky.
Thank you, David, for that very kind introduction. I cannot start without acknowledging the presence of my former professor, Dr. Cathy Lagunsad. I am glad you are here, and my colleague, Dean Ole Villafuerte. Good afternoon, everyone. Today marks the end of COP30 in Belém, Brazil. It is reported that more than 80 countries from Africa, Asia, Latin America, Pacific, and Europe have joined the call for a roadmap to phase out fossil fuels. This, despite stiff opposition from petrostates and some other major economies. COP started last November 10 and is ending today. So our session today is very significant also. I have read somewhere that more than 1,700 lobbyists have been deployed to attend COP30 to continue derailing the urgent and necessity of phasing out fossil fuels. But the call to phase out fossil fuels is getting stronger, and the delegates to COP30, together with the President of Brazil, have threatened to block any agreement that does not include such a commitment. How is this related to our discussions this afternoon? In our desire to phase out from fossil fuels, some of our national leaders are promoting the use of waste to energy and nuclear power as alternative to fossil fuels. Is this toward the sustainable development of the Philippines? I have learned last week that MMDA, under the leadership of Mayor Zamora of San Juan City, has announced that starting January 2026, landfills will no longer be allowed. Instead, the waste of Metro Manila will be converted to energy. That's waste to energy. The government is also seriously considering the use of nuclear power as alternative energy. President Ferdinand Marcos signed Republic Act 12305 on the Philippine National Nuclear Energy Safety Act, creating the Philippine Atomic Energy Regulatory Authority, or PhilAtom, last September 18, 2025. This is how earnest our government is about this. But are they okay? We need to know. So we are happy to be here this afternoon with our experts on the topic to help us understand the implications of these technologies to our communities and our people. We are also grateful for the enlightenment that our friends from DENR, Department of Energy, and Green Research will share with us. We hope that everyone will contribute their knowledge, expertise, and concerns in the discussions. It's so important for our country today. So welcome and makakalikasang hapon sa ating lahat. Have a great discussion.
Maraming salamat, Miss Vicky. Napakaganda ng opening statement, no? Alam mo, Marian, ang parang message dito sa Belem yung pagkatapos ng COP, nagkaroon ng sunog, no? Sa isang tent dun sa Belem. Parang nire-remind yung lahat ng nandun na ganito na kainit yung mundo, our planet is burning, and yet most of the global leaders are not doing enough, no, to combat the climate crisis. So parang ay siyempre ayaw naman natin ng mega, no, kaya lang it's a symbolism that the issue is very urgent. So okay, now that we have set the tone, Marian, I think we can formally begin the Kamayan Forum today.
Thank you, Ms. Vicky and Sir David. Before we begin, here are a few quick reminders. We'd like to kindly remind our participants on Zoom to avoid any distracting ambient noise. We kindly ask everyone to keep your microphones on mute. This will help ensure that everyone can clearly hear our resource speakers. But of course, we still want to know your thoughts and reactions now. Please feel free to use the chat box to share your comments or messages with regard to today's discussions. We'll welcome them, keep an eye on them, and may even read some of them later on in the forum. So with that, let's get started.
Thank you for the reminders, Marian. It's now time to introduce the first resource speaker for our program, our Kamayan session today. He will be discussing what exactly is just transition, what steps are being taken to implement this, and why this transition is important and beneficial. We warmly welcome the founder and executive director of the Center for Energy, Ecology and Development, or SEED, Sir Jerry Arances. Makalikasang araw po, Sir Jerry. Kamusta?
At maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin. Magandang hapon po. Magandang hapon, David. And then siyempre kay Miss Vicky at sa mga taga-Green Convergence. Ang pinakatanong sa ating lahat siguro dito sa usapin ng just transition, just transition para kanino? At para saan? Siguro yun yung pinaka-importanting tanong sa mga kababayan natin, ano. Kasi sobrang daming mga plano, sobrang daming mga bagay-bagay na pinag-uusapan, minsan nakakalito na sila. Pero pag pinag-usapan ang transition at lalo't lalo na pag pinag-usapan natin, sinama natin yung konsepto ng justness, ay ang unang tanong natin ay para kanino ba ito? At para saan? Tatandaan po natin at maganda yung opening ni Miss Vicky kanina na at maganda yung timing ng Kamayan Forum na ito kasi pagtatapos ng BELEM conference, ano, and most likely baka mag-extend kasi mukhang may deadlock na nagaganap at ito yung kumbaga parang nasa buod nung pagre-resolba ng pinakamalaking problema sa kasaysayan ng sangkatauhan, ano, na to the extent na mismong kumbaga existential threat siya sa ating pagkatao mismo at ang buong sibilisasyon. And nitong mga nakaraang araw, kami po kasama ang Simbahang Katoliko ay naglabas ng kumbaga nagkaroon ng press briefing in the light nung nakaraang dalawang bagyo na tumama, halos 2 araw lamang ang interval, ano, at and simple yung mensahe natin. It's as if in the last decade we are already just counting bodies. At ganito ka exemplified yung usapin ng climate injustices sa mga kababayan natin at sa bansa natin, ano. At marami na ang diskurso dito. Pero siguro ang isang pinaka-importanting elemento is paano nga ba magta-transition? At nagaganap ba talaga yung transition? Yun yung pinaka-importanting pangalawang tanong, ano. And doon sa lahat ng inilatag na ng siyensya, malinaw na ang sinasabi. At kaya nga ito ang pinaka-importanteng sinimulan ng COP presidency, which is the government of Brazil nung nilaunch nila yung tinatawag na FAT na roadmap, na kung saan ang sentro ay yung fossil fuel phase out, no? Kasi walang ibang mayor na pinanggagalingan ang climate change at global warming kung hindi ang dependency sa pagsusunog at paggamit ng fossil fuel, which is basically coal, oil, and gas. At nananatili yung ganitong challenge. And ang nakakalungkot, habang tayo ay kumbaga pumapasok sa Conference of Parties na nagaganap ngayon, papasok pa lang ang Conference of Parties na nagbibilang na naman tayo ng bodies ng mga kababayan natin na nasalanta, nasawi, ay nagpapatuloy yung dependency ng fossil fuel sa bansa natin. At malinaw na malinaw sa mga datos and even doon sa inilatag na Philippine Energy Plan ng bansa natin na mayorya, bagamat merong pagbabago sa targets ng renewable energy, which is now pegged at 35%. Pag mas maganda po na senaryo is at 40% or even beyond, no? Pero at the minimum, 35% ng renewable energy. Bumagsak po ang renewable energy share in the last 15 years. Nag-umpisa po ang renewable energy share at 34% when the Renewable Energy Act was promulgated. Ibig sabihin na ipasa. Pero bumagsak siya at lowest at 20% at one point. At ngayon itinataas sa 35%. Pero parang sinasabi ng gobyerno, mataas na yon kumpara sa kung nasaan tayo. Pero ang hindi tinatanong ay when the law was passed back in 2009, we were at 34%. So 1% increase from when the law was passed is really not ambitious. Much more doon sa usapin ng pag pinag-usapan kasi natin ang transition at kaya ako sinasabi kanina, para saan at para kanino. Pag pinag-usapan natin ang transition, ang main objective talaga natin dito ay mag-ambag para i-reduce yung salanta na dinudulot ng climate change. Kasi i-reduce pa lang po natin siya. Hindi po natin siya masusugpo ng tuluyan. Masusugpo lamang siya ng tuluyan at aabot ng dekada-dekada yan. Masusugpo lamang siya ng tuluyan kung yung ultimong pinakamalaking challenge, which is fossil fuel dependency, ay talagang mawala siya completely. Ibig sabihin ay magta-transition to renewable energy. At napaka-importanting marker dito na stabilize ang target sa 1.5 degrees, ano? At ito yung mga balita nitong nakaraan. At kaya din naman ganun kaambisyoso ang target, ang naging target nitong BELEM na conference na to, at saludo tayo doon sa ginagawa ng Brazilian government na nilatag niya from the very beginning kung ano ang pinaka number one challenge ng buong sangkatuan ngayon, ano, yung transition natin away from fossil fuel. Ang nakakalungkot dito ay patuloy even sa Philippine Energy Plan, no matter how ambitious na itinaas ang renewable energy target to 35% at sa pinakamagandang senaryo at 40%, ay nananatili in large ang coal dependency at fossil fuel dependency. Ni walang pagbanggit doon sa coal phase out, much more fossil fuel phase out. Pag sinabi natin fossil fuel phase out, ito yung gas at oil. Walang hakbang na konkreto na magbibir away from all this. In fact, ang pinakamabigat bago ang Conference of Parties sa papuntang BELEM ay naglabas ang Philippine government ng advisory on the coal moratorium. Tandaan po natin na ang bansa natin, despite the renewable energy law, ay inuna ang pag-aaproba ng mga permits ng mga coal plants. At kaya din naman bumagsak yung share ng renewable energy in the last 15 years. At ngayon, ang coal dependency natin is at 62%. Isa na po tayo sa pinakamataas sa buong mundo. In fact, mayroong nilabas na recent report this year na tayo ang isa sa pinaka-dependent on fossil fuel. Sa buong mundo po ito, ha? At coal. At kaya itong bagong advisory na basically ang pinakalaman ay sinasabi nila pinapalawak ang exemptions ng coal moratorium sa 4 na rason. Una, kapag ang isang coal plant ay ginamit sa small island ecosystems, katulad ng Palawan. At kaya din naman after ng advisory, ay naglabas kaagad ng proposal ang DMCI ng expansion ng 15 megawatts. Tinutulan in the last 15 years yung coal plant dyan sa isang, kumbaga, napaka-fragile ecosystem. The last ecological frontier natin sa bansa natin, ano, at itatayo at ng panibagong coal plant dyan na expansion. So small island ay i-exempt. Pangalawa, i-exempt din po kapag ang export processing zones ay gagamit ng mga coal plants. Ilan ang export processing zones sa bansa natin? May target na 50 export processing zones at heavy industries. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Ang ibig sabihin po nun, lahat ng shineld na coal plants ay practically pwede nang itayo. Pangatlo, at ito yung pinakamatindi, napaka-ironic nitong non-coverage na to, no? Yung mga coal plants ay pwedeng itayo kapag kailangan siya para sa critical mining. So, ilan ang mining, ilan ang minahan sa bansa natin at ilan ang bubuksan pang minahan sa bansa natin? Lahat yan gagamit ng mga coal plants. Yung mga coal plant providers o yung mga nasa generation industry, sila din po yung may-ari ngayon ng mga mining companies tulad ng San Miguel, etc. etc. Kahit ang sila Manny Pangilinan na merong extraction. So lahat po yan, DMCI, lahat po yan magtatayo ng mga coal plants. Ang pangatlo ay kapag may power emergency situation. Alam po natin na every year, this year lang po walang rotating brownouts sa panahon ng peak seasons from January to summer. At lahat yan, maraming kaso ng manipulasyon, unplanned shutdown, sabay-sabay po ang mga coal plants. So napakadali para sa kanila na i-manipulate na magkaroon ng emergency power situations. So in essence is really the coal advisory ay pagtalikod sa coal moratorium, ano. The hard fought natin within the Green Convergence, ang Simbahang Katoliko at lahat ng affected communities across the country. So, yung just transition sa bansa natin is really a very challenging situation in our context, ano. Hindi na lang gas ngayon. Ang gas ay medyo na-contain doon sa mga unang projects dyan sa Batangas na sinisira ang Verde Island Passage, ang center of global marine shorefish, ano. So sobrang dami ng problema. Pero hindi doon ako kontento ang pamahalaan natin under the Philippine Energy Plan. At ito yung pinaka-topic. Si segue lang po ako. Nais ko pong bigyan tayo ng isang mas malawak na konteksto nung usapin ng transition na nagaganap. From one source to another, that in itself is very challenging kasi may revolving door na nagaganap. Bumabalik tayo ulit sa coal. Nag-veer away towards fossil gas. Nalaman na sobrang mahal ng liquefied natural gas na imported. Kaya po sobrang taas ng presyo ng kuryente ngayon. At lalong tataas dahil ibinabalik ang mga coal plants. So, papasok ngayon yung alternatives, no? At dito, bagamat tayo ay nagagalak na pinaprioritize, isa sa priority ngayon ng renewable energy. And in fact, yung green energy auction na isang mekanismo para ma-implementa yung mga mechanisms under the renewable energy law, which is called the green energy auction, ay nagresulta na ng 21, close to 22 gigawatts na bagong mga renewable energy mula 2023 hanggang 2025 na mga green energy auctions, ano. Lahat to ay i-implement 21 gigawatts. That is more than 60% of the current overall capacity ng buong power sector ng Pilipinas. So dapat endgame na dyan. Kung i-implementa lang ng pamahalaan yung lumabas sa green energy auction, tapos na dapat ang pangangailangan ng bansa natin. Hindi kailangan magtayo ng bagong fossil fuel plants, hindi kailangan i-allow uli ang mga coal plants. Right? And much more ay hindi po kailangan itayo ang mga bagong nuclear plants. Ibig sabihin, the renewable energy, hindi po tayo nag-uusap dito ng potential ng renewable energy, nag-uusap po tayo ng actual na inaproba ng pamahalaan, 22 gigawatts na mga power plants. That's more than 60% already of the current overall power capacity. Sapat-sapat po yun in the next decade para i-power yung dagdag na mga pangangailangan sa kuryente ng bansa natin. At sapat-sapat din po yun para i-displace yung mga inefficient, mahal na mga fossil fuel plants, primarily coal and gas plants na sobrang tatanda na din po. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, pagdating doon sa mga nuclear and waste to energy, kasi po ang waste to energy at napaka-importante nito kasi in-announce ng Department of Energy na ang next green energy auction is really about WTE. At napaka-importante na tinatalakay na natin to ngayon. Pero on nuclear, hindi kailangan na magdagdag pa ng bagong nuclear power plant. Sapat na yung nandyan na in-approve in the next decade. Ngayon, pagdating doon sa usapin ng potential on renewable energy, sobrang dami pong studies. At sinasabi ng study nga na isa ay 1,200 gigawatts ang potential ng renewable energy. Different sources. Kaya hindi pwedeng mag-argue na ang renewable energy cannot be base load. It's actually a mixture of all traditional na mga kumbaga renewable energy power sources ng bansa natin na pwede lang i-rehabilitate, i-expand ng konti na hindi nag-i-encroach doon sa mga sensitive biodiversity areas at siyempre mga ancestral domains. At pwedeng-pwede na siyang mag-power notwithstanding all the technologies na nag-a-advance ngayon on battery storage, on ramp pump, so on and so forth. Sobrang dami na. And of course, yung pag-proliferate ng mga microgrids. May mga batas na tayo on microgrids. So nuclear, hindi po natin pinag-uusapan pa yung safety, yung usapin ng sunod-sunod na lindol ang naganap sa ating bansa. And this has been the argument against nuclear, right? This is we're a country within the ring of fire. So one cannot really answer kung capable ba ang bansa nating i-mitigate ang impacts ng nitong mga lindol na ito sa mga nuclear reactors. Ngayon po ang proposal for nuclear reactors o itong small modular ay nakasentro sa Pangasinan. At sasabihin ko na po dito sa Department of Energy, and I would bet on it that the people of Pangasinan will not allow it. They're actually discussing today how they will prepare to block all initiatives ng pagtatayo ng mga nuclear power plant diyan sa bayan nila. Sinong would right mind ng mga Pilipino na alam nila kung ano ang harm ng isang nuclear facility? At hindi papayag. And it has to go through the processes. At kaya nga po, kailangan din nating bantayan itong initiative na una, ang nuclear di umano o mga small modular reactors ay wag nang dumaan sa competitive selection process, including WTE, hindi na daw dadaan sa bidding process. Kasi alam naman po nila, natalo sila pagdating sa usapin ng presyo na ipapasa nilang sa mga electric consumers. At ang mga electric consumers, sawang-sawa na sa mataas na presyo ng kuryente and most likely, iba-block ang kahit anong mahal na source ng electricity. And these are exemplified in nuclear reactors na mga power plants, including ng mga WTE power plants. Hindi po sasapat at hindi sila makakapag-compete sa mga renewable energy na sobrang mumura na ngayon. Kaya ang usapin ng just transition at the end of the day is not just about from one source to another. It is a question of sustainability. It is also a question of affordability. It is also a question of, kumbaga, anong klaseng system ang ipuput forward natin. Kaya nga po, there is such a thing as just transition. Hindi uubra from one source to another lamang. At ito ang pinaka-challenge at maganda na nandito ang isang speaker from Department of Energy. Gumawa naman po kayo ng strategic cost-benefit analysis na titingnan lahat ng aspeto, including affordability. Pagdating sa nuclear, paano po ninyo i-contain at paano ang mga waste, nuclear waste? Hindi nga po tayo kayang mag-maintain ng mga tailings dam na mga radioactive din ng existing na mga closed mines. Much more ang nuclear waste. At sino po ay magbe-bear nung cost nito? And perpetuity po itong mga nuclear waste na ito. Saan sila ilalagak? Sino ngayon ang magbe-bear ng cost? Hindi lang po yung impacts nun sa ecology, sa mga host communities, kung hindi yung cost mismo ng pag-maintain nun. At ito yung problema sa mga tulad ng WTE, tulad ng nuclear and also fossil fuel. Hindi incorporated yung tinatawag na external cost. At dahil sa PENCAS law, dapat na ma-incorporate ito at kaya yun yung appeal namin sa Department of Energy, including sa private industries na nagpo-promote nito, tulad ng Meralco na nagpo-promote ngayon ng nuclear. Actually, may joint venture na sila with EDF France para tingnan yung viability ng pagtatayo ng mga nuclear small reactors. Magkaroon ng mas maayos na strategic cost-benefit analysis kasi I will bet on it that renewable energy, distributed renewable energy, at yung mismong mga inaprobahan na will actually be in an advantage at kailangan nating mas yun ang i-prioritize. So at the end of the day, my message is, notwithstanding all the other just issues, sustainability, paano yung mga workers na kailangang maritool at ma-incorporate, paano naman ang tenurial rights nila, kasi hindi po pwede na kahit mag-renewable energy at sila ay ma-incorporate, ay hindi mapopromote at masisecure yung tenurial rights, yung mismong karapatan nila bilang mga empleyado, including karapatan nila sa pag-uunyon. At ito yung isang argument ngayon ng mga nagsama-samang mga labor federations na nagtutulak ng ano ang ibig sabihin ng just transition para sa kanila. Notwithstanding the other major issues on sustainability ng bansa natin. So at the end of the day, ang daming challenges. Pero ang isa po ang pinakamensahe ko, we do not need WTE. We do not need nuclear, whether that's small reactors or revival ng Bataan. We already have enough renewable energy in the pipeline that has been approved already at the minimum for the next decade. At saka po natin pag-usapan yan pagkatapos na ng isang dekada. And siguro I'll end there at maraming salamat. Pasensya na po at hindi po ako nagkaroon ng technical problem para maipakita yung aking presentasyon.
Nako, no worries po. Thank you very much, Sir Jerry Arances, for your discussion on just transition. Medyo alarming po pala to know, no, na medyo may regression po tayo sa development sa RE space, no, and widely sa fossil fuel phase out and just transition efforts natin. Lalo na palapit na tayo ng palapit sa targets ng Paris Agreement at lalo na first hand as Filipinos, ramdam na talaga ang epekto ng climate change na fueled pa nitong mga nabanggit ni Sir Jerry na destructive activities and infrastructure na nagawa na at niluluto pa. So thank you po ulit, Sir Jerry, no. These are indeed very, very, very important and concerning statements that we have to echo loudly as Filipinos, no. So for those with questions, please hold on to them. We will be having an open forum later on. So we still have much in store for you this afternoon.